Hello and welcome to a special winter edition of Modern Retro Review, where I'll be reviewing not one, not two, but three winter themed homebrew games on different systems, all themed around skiing as it happens. And this is the first of those three. This is a Commodore 64 game called Super Ski, originally released in 2016 and produced by Andreas Gustafsson and Vanja Utni. The former doing the programming and the latter doing the graphics and sound. They're from Pond and Privy Software respectively, or together, I'm not entirely sure to be perfectly honest. And this was produced for the Reset Magazine Craptastic 4KB game competition in 2016. So this is a game that fits within 4K, so that's pretty cool. And it's available as a free download from the developer's website, which I'll put a link to in the pinned comment. So yeah, as I said, it's a skiing game. There are 4 different stages. There's Rocky Ridge, Moose Hill, Bear Mountain, and also a random slope, which is randomly generated every time you load the game up. So it's not a random game every time you start the game. It's the same slope each time, but generated randomly each time the game is loaded up. So that's pretty cool. So let's begin by looking at Rocky Ridge and see how it goes. Okay, so the idea of the game is to ski down the slope. You've just got left and right movement, nothing else, and you don't ski through the flags. You actually collect the flags for bonus points, and obviously avoid all the obstacles, which I'm trying to do. Oh, this is going to be tricky. Oh, I've managed to do it. So yeah, very slick movement and nice scrolling, which does slow down as you're going from side to side, left to right. It'll slow down, but if you go straight down the hill, it goes faster. So that's nicely done. It's just a series of static objects that are generated for you to negotiate around and try not to crash into. A little bit of music playing in the background as well, just kind of throbbing kind of bass. There we go, I've completed it, and you get 500 bonus points for completing the course. So there you go, I've got 3,557 points. You get points for just traversing down the slope and also for collecting the flags as well. So let's move on to the second course, which is Moose Hill, and you'll see some different obstacles on this. There's more trees on this one, and of course there are moose. My wife is a big fan of moose, so she'd like to play this level in particular. I might show it to her actually after I've done this video. So yeah, the music does sort of progress the more you play, so that there's more sort of little tunes going on in the background now, and the music kind of reminds me a little bit of Paperboy, just in the kind of tones that it's using, I thought. Oh, I'm going to crash into a moose. There we go, I clipped a moose, and you only get one chance, so as soon as you die or crash, then it's game over. Let's give Moose Hill another go. So yeah, very nice, cute little graphics, move around very smoothly. The animation on your little skier is really good, and everything else is static. As I say, it would have been quite fun if the moose actually moved a little bit, but I guess that's a little bit beyond a game that's programmed in 4K. This is a really polished little game, considering it's only occupying 4 kilobytes of memory, because you've got smooth scrolling, nice graphics, music and sound effects, all in 4K. 4 different courses. Oh, I crashed into that tree. 4 different courses, and it records your top score as well. So I think that's a really polished little game for considering the amount of memory that it's occupying. Oh, let's try and complete this one. Oh no, I'm going to crash into that tree again. The one thing you do have to get used to is it is left to move left and right to move right, so it's not rotational controls like you get in a driving game, where as you're coming down the screen you'd push left and actually move to the left from the perspective of your player. But yeah, nice little game. I will have a quick look at, I want to try and complete this one, but I'll have a quick look at some of the other courses as well. Obviously the random one is a nice touch as well. It means every time you load the game up there's something new to try out. It offers a pretty nice little high score challenge. If you've got some friends, you could compete for the best score. Obviously you've got to collect all the flags really to get the best score, and obviously make it to the end of the course. Ooh. Red flags give you 200 points, by the way, and blue ones give you 100, I think. Yeah, there we go. Must be getting close to the end now, surely. There we go. Fins out at the end, and I've got 5,200 points. So that's the second course. Oh, I've started it again. I'll just crash there because we've seen that one now. So let's move on to Bear Mountain. I'm not too bothered if I complete this one, but I'll just see how I get on. And unsurprisingly on this one, there are bears to contend with. There's one of them. Again, it would be kind of cool if these moved a little bit, even if they just kind of moved backwards and forwards, or moved across the screen for you to avoid them. That would have been a nice little addition, but probably a bit beyond what you could do in 4K, I suspect. As it is, it's just static objects that you've got to avoid crashing into, so everything's got the same attributes even if it looks different on the screen. Some nice trees to ski through there. Ooh, doing alright here. Just cool little music as well, I think. A jolly little tune going on in the background. Basic sound effects for just collecting the flags. I think that's the only thing that really gives a sound effect. And crashing, obviously. Might get to the end of this one. If not, then you've seen plenty of it. Yeah, I'm going to make it to the end. So let's move on to the final course, which is the random slope. So the last time I loaded this up, I completed this, but obviously now it's completely different to that, so we'll see what we get. We've got moose on there, we've got barren trees, we've got bears, a bit of everything basically. So it's generating a landscape with all the different objects on from the different other courses, and giving you something new to try out each time you load the game up. So good replayability there as well. Really, you can't ask for much more out of a game that occupies 4K. It takes no time at all to load off the SD card as well. The controls are really precise. It's literally just left and right, so it's easy to pick up and understand the controls. You've not got any time limit to deal with, which could have been something that could have been added, I suppose, but really it's just a really solid little playable game that's a lot of fun. I don't have much more to say about it. I'll just try and make my way to the end of this course. Ooh, that's a lot of... There's a moose very close to a bear there. That's very dangerous for the moose, I would suggest. Well, yeah, it probably takes a couple of goes to get to grips with the controls and how precise they are, but once you do, you can really kind of negotiate around quite tightly. Am I going to make it to the end of this one? We'll see. Must be getting quite close now. Ooh, moose overload. And there we go, I made it to the end of that one as well. So, nice. Great little game. Not much more to say about it. It's a fun little high score challenge, very precise controls, nice graphics, sound effects, music. What more could you ask for just 4K? As I mentioned, that one's available for free from the developer's website, so I'll put a link to that in the pinned comment. Let's now move on to our second game of this episode. Right then, for the second game I've now moved on to the Master System. As you can see at the moment the screen is very yellow. For some reason on my Everdrive this game doesn't load quite right and it doesn't show the title screen, so I'm going to superimpose the title screen, which is pretty nice. This is a Master System game, as I mentioned. It was originally released in 2015. It's called Ski Master. It was programmed by Eric Fry along with some other people from the SMS Power forums, and it was entered into the SMS Power coding competition in 2015 where it came second. It's available as a free download from SMS Power. It's not a complete game, it's a work in progress which was unfortunately never completed, but it is playable, so we'll have a look at what is available in the game. As I say, the title screen on my version doesn't display properly, and it also kind of jumbles up the title screen when a game is finished as well, so you're not going to see beyond what I've shown here on the screen. You're not going to see anything in terms of nice presentation, but I will start the game and let's get going. And the other thing that's a problem is when you initially start it, your player doesn't move, so you initially crash into a tree on your first go. So this is much like the last game, a downhill skiing game. You control a very nicely drawn skier going down the slope. If you go over these moguls you jump, and it's left and right to steer. You can also press one of the buttons to... Ooh, and that's game over. That didn't last very long, did it? That's because I'm trying to explain what I'm doing whilst playing. So let's go again. As I was saying, the screen does not look great when it goes back to the title screen. I have seen it played with the proper title screen, so that seems to be a bug with my version of the ROM on the Everdrive. So yeah, left and right to steer. One of the buttons also jumps, and you can also push down to go faster, as you can see there. And that's pretty much it in terms of the game. There's no scoring, there's no time limit. It's just get to the bottom of the course. You don't get any points for going through gates. You get 3 lives. Obviously, as I say, it's a work in progress kind of a game. There's also only a couple of levels. That was the first one, and when you get to level 2, it's the same thing again. Negotiate around the trees, get through the jump over the gaps. There's some nicely drawn cracks in the ice. The graphics are really nice on this. The scrolling's good. The control of your little skier is nice as well. He's well drawn. There's also some nice music and sound effects, so they went a pretty good way in making a playable game, but they never did any more with it after the competition, so it's pretty limited. You've basically seen all the game now. It's only taken me a couple of minutes to show. I will just go through again. That's basically it. It's back to the title screen, so let's give it another go just to demonstrate again. I think what they made was the makings of a nice little game, and unfortunately it never went beyond this. They planned to do scoring and things like that, high score tables, but it doesn't appear that any later version of this game exists, so a little bit of a shame. If they released the source code, maybe someone else could finish it off and make a decent game out of it, because there's no doubt they got off to a good start with what was produced. So let's just do the second level again just to show it, and then that'll be it for this one. Very short and sweet little demo of, as I say, a playable but incomplete game for the Master System. So can I recommend it? Probably not, because there's not much of it, but if you can get hold of the source code and you know what you're doing with the Master System, then maybe you want to make a more playable and complete game out of it. And there you go, that was game over, so we'll call it a day on that one and move on to the final game in this episode. Okay, on to the third game then. This is Mega Xmas 89, and we've moved from the 8-bit to the 16-bit systems. This is on the Megadrive, and it wasn't released in 1989, it was released in 2020. It's programmed by the people at Nekajita, whose names were on the opening sort of credits before this screen came on. Very nice title screen with Santa surrounded by a wreath with his skis in the middle there, and some scrolling candy canes and snowflakes in the background, and it's playing a version of Oh Christmas Tree, which is very nicely done. Probably not making the most of the Mega Drive's hardware, but still pretty nice. So anyway, let's press start. I should mention that this is a game that's available on itch.io, and it's a pay what you like game, so you can make a donation to the developers if you wish, or you can download it for free. And it was inspired by a Windows game called Ski Free. So here we go, is the overview of how to play the game. It shows you Santa, it shows you Santa's lives, which are 3 hoes, or ho 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 if you like. The controls, there's ramps you can jump on for tricks, there's obstacles to dodge, presents to collect, flags to go between, and also you've got to watch out for a couple of adversaries if you like. There's random snowboarders, and also the Krampus might chase you as well. So let's press start and get on with it. So at the beginning here you get the option of going down 3 different types of slopes. So on the left is the slalom, in the middle is the style, which is basically where you can just do tricks, and on the right hand side is free ski, which is basically an infinite lives, infinite runner, so you can just go for as long as you like. So I'm going to start by going down the middle, down the style option. So left and right controls your skier, and I may as well do that while I'm there. Pressing C when you go over a ramp does a jump and a trick, and also you can press B to jump, and also A does kind of a drift, but I don't really know that that actually does anything. Oh dear, I've crashed. I would say the controls are a little bit more twitchy, or a lot more twitchy actually, compared to the ones on the Commodore 64 game, because when you push left, oops, there's another crash. When you push left you go all the way left, and when you push right you go all the way right, so you have to use the diagonals to sort of, oh there we go, there goes another life. So let's go again, let's go down the middle one again. Yeah, so using the diagonals is what you have to use to do more precision, so you have to push the pad down and into the diagonals to do the diagonal movement. If you just push left and right, you don't rotate like you did on the C64 one, you just go left or right. So yeah, it's another downhill skiing game. This is a infinite runner style one though. I think it goes on forever, just generating random obstacles and things to collect. So you can collect the presents for bonus points, you can go over the ramps to do tricks, you can also just jump in mid-air as well. In mid-air, you don't jump in mid-air, do you? You can jump naturally without going over a ramp. You go over the moguls on this one, it makes no difference, unlike the Master System one. They're nothing really, because they don't cause any kind of slowing down or obstacle or cause you to crash or anything, as far as I know. So anyway, yeah, it's nice. Oh, I've hit a snowman. So there's some nice graphics, nice animation on Santa and the snowboarders that come past from time to time. Otherwise it's static objects, snowmen, candy canes, Christmas trees, all that kind of good stuff that you'd expect with a Christmas themed skiing game, I suppose. Some nice music in the background as well, that's Jingle Bells, pretty good rendition of that. As I mentioned, nothing's really pushing the Megadrive hardware to its limits, but also it's a pretty nice, colourful, well programmed homebrew game. Nice scrolling, and let's get past him. Oh, and the Krampus is coming after me. Now when the Krampus comes after you, there doesn't seem to be any way to avoid him. You have to drift out of the way or jump or hit him or anything like that. So that's a bit of a shame, because, well, you're going to lose a life there. But yeah, there's some fun stuff to do in this version. I will, when I eventually lose my final life, I will show the slalom version as well. Ooh, that was close. So one thing it does lack when you get game over, as you're about to see, there's no high score table, so every score you get is just immediately lost, which is a little bit of a shame. But yeah, so perhaps a little bit more could have been done from the presentation side of things, but overall it's a pretty nice game. Let's start the other mode now. So this is the slalom, and on this mode you've got to go through the gates, and if you don't then you lose a life, so this one's a little bit more of a challenge. When you go through the gates you get 20 points. So this is probably also, oh dear, crashed into a bush. So yeah, this one's probably the most challenging one, but also possibly the one where you can go, just got through there, where you can get the most points as well. Sometimes an obstacle will spawn, oh dear, I've missed one there, oh I'm going really fast now. Sometimes an obstacle will be spawned right in the middle of the gates, which just makes it a little bit more difficult. Doing alright here though. Ooh. The other problem is you're never quite sure where the next... Oh, there we go, that's game over. 800 points again, that seems to be my sort of threshold. So finally I will just give the final mode a go, which is the free run mode. So yeah, free ski mode is basically unlimited lives and you just go on forever. So I can crash into this, for example, and I don't lose a hoe from the left hand corner there. So it's more of a practice mode, I suppose you'd say. Oh, and I've crashed again, but it doesn't matter because it's free mode. So yeah, probably the least interesting mode long term, but it is good for practicing to get used to the controls and things like that. You do get the ramps popping up from time to time. There's no slalom gates, but there you go, there's a ramp. So you can do sort of spins in the air off the ramps and things like that. I don't know if you get the same points regardless, or if the more tricks you do, the more points you get. So let's skip that and go back to my preferred mode, which is the, let me just press restart, which is the style mode. That's probably the most fun and the one I can get furthest on, so I'll have a quick additional go with that. So overall, as I say, the controls are not as tight as the Commodore 64 game, but it's still a nice little game, one of those that you could get together with friends to play over Christmas and play for a high score challenge or something like that. Nice graphics and sound, decent music, good scrolling, nice animation on the things that animate, so all good really, not much more I can say about it. This has been a video, I hope it makes sense why I put all these games together. There's not much to all of them individually, but they've obviously got a consistent theme. I think for me the best one is the C64 one, just the fact that what they did on that game with 4K to have the 4 different courses, and the music and the graphics and everything were really charming. I think that's my favourite. This one's the second best one for me, obviously slightly better, more colourful graphics and better music I suppose you'd say as well, but the controls aren't quite as good. And the Master System one, really nice graphics and music was good on that as well, but obviously not much else in terms of the game. It's only 2 stages, a bit of an incomplete sort of tech demo, more than an actual fully playable game. So all 3 of them decent though. If you want a bit of winter sports themed fun, then they're all worth a little go, worth a bit of your time. So as I mentioned, I'll as always put the links to the games where you can download them from in the pinned comment. Here comes the Krampus again. No, you definitely can't get past him without losing a life, it seems. So yeah, I will, as I say, put links to them all in the pinned comment, so download them and give them a go if you want to. And if you've got any thoughts about the games that I've shown in this video, then leave me a comment. Thanks very much for watching. I will just persist until it's game over. How many points have we got? 730, and there we go, crashed into a snowboarder, and that'll be game over. So thanks very much for watching, and I won't wish you a Harry Christmas. I definitely won't wish you a Harry Christmas. I won't wish you a happy Christmas either just yet. I wish you a happy winter, and see you in another video very soon.